Everybody is still getting used to life around here with the new baby horse.
I think Ziggo.
Ziggy in particular has spent most of his time the last couple of days trying to get the attention of him. He's thrown out his best moves, but so far the little baby doesn't really pay him too much attention. He had a pretty rocky start, and I'm really hopeful that throughout the week I can see the new baby improve a little bit more.
I'm Primmy.
At 4 days old, I figured he had enough of his faculties about him that he could go out for his first little turnout. I built a small little run outside of their stall so it would be easy to just open a gate and let them explore. It took some convincing by Prim, but eventually this little guy ventured out of the stall.
Oh, watch out, little dude. Very fancy.
Nigel, Ziggy, and Scarlet were pretty excited to get a better look at this little guy. Both he and Prim were being really good in the turnout, but after a while I had to put them back in their stalls because the other horses were getting a little bit too crazy. Scarlet still doesn't realize her strength. She was pushing on the fence pretty hard. I'm trying not to have any pasture accidents today, and I don't want her ruining our yard fence. The novelty of the new baby should hopefully wear off soon.
Mare, don't think about it, girlfriend. Oh, that's it.
I was hoping to let these two out a little bit longer, but it looks like I'm going to have to cut their time short. I do still think that Ziggy and Nigel both think that this is one of their offspring.
Sorry, Primmy.
This foal is still pretty delicate at this stage, so I don't want Prim accidentally hurting him if she feels like she has to protect him from the other horses.
Good boy. Good boy. Prim, sorry, girl.
It is important for this little baby to get out and stretch his legs a little bit. During this first week, he is going to grow a lot, and if he doesn't have the space to stretch out his legs, he could get contracted tendons. Although I would prefer it if he had nice, gentle turnout sessions. I have no control over how excitable this little dude gets. With Scarlet and Ziggy egging him on, it's not surprising to see this little guy zipping around his turnout pen. For the first couple of days, I'm going to keep their time out on their little pen pretty short. The little bit of extra space has really sparked the adventurous side in this little dude. I can definitely tell he's starting to feel much better. Health-wise, he doesn't seem to have too many limitations these days.
What are you doing?
I'm trying not to spend too much time with him because it's important that Prim continues to discipline him as he grows. He also needs 24/7 access to all of the milk he can drink. But at the end of the day, I like to relax and spend a little bit of snuggle time with him. Although I haven't started any true training with him, I've been doing a few little things while I'm handling him that should aid when I go to put a halter on him.
Wow,
Each day he gets a little bit more lively, and as you can see, his stall is no longer big enough for him to stretch his legs. Another thing I've noticed him trying to do is eat solid foods.
He peed on your hay, Prim.
This is pretty typical for a foal. They often just mimic whatever their mother's doing. Here lately, he's had so much energy, he's been taking it out on Prim. I've been really surprised to see that, honestly, she hasn't disciplined him very much, if at all. During our snuggle sessions, sometimes he can be a little bit overbearing and I have to push him away. It's really nice that he feels comfortable with me, but he's going to have to learn early on that there are different rules when playing with horses as opposed to humans. He still doesn't have any teeth, but he has been trying to touch me with his little hooves, so I'm going to have to nip that in the bud. I'm not being aggressive at all with my corrections. I'm just simply pushing him away when he gets to be too much. It's basically the same thing that Prim should be doing when he's getting a little bit too rowdy. Prim has been a really good mama, but I feel like this little dude is going to have her wrapped around his little hooves in no time. His eyes are still that really pretty shade of blue-gray, and I haven't noticed them starting to change yet. His sire does have eyes that are a little bit on the lighter side. It'll be fun watching him change colors and shed out his baby fuzz. Since he is out now, I can pull some hairs and actually do a genetic test on him to have a better idea of what exactly his color is. Every day I still notice little things here and there about this cute little guy. Right now he is 5 days old and I am so surprised at how much muscling he's getting already. I'm still trying to catch up a little bit on lost sleep, but it's nice to have everything in order around here.
Good morning, Stewy. Good morning, Stewy. Being friends with Sparkler?
I've been trying to train the other horses to remain calm when the baby's turned out. They stay occupied as long as they have mash in front of them, but when that's done, they are pretty excited to get over here and say hello.
Whoa!
It's really cool to see this little athlete run around and slide and stop. I hadn't really thought too far ahead in the future after his birth, but it's really exciting to see that he does have the moves that he's going to need to be a really cool future cow horse.
Better skedaddle. Uh-oh, we got one pony out. Who is that? Gus. Better go get him.
With my hay running short, I have been turning out some of the boys onto little baby pastures. I am still having trouble with escapees every now and then, though. There's always interesting things to see around here, and lately I've been catching lots of glimpses of this fox in the evening. I saw and heard this one a bunch over the winter. I'm pretty sure she has some pups in the clump of tamarisk trees that is closest to the barn. It was really cool to watch her hunt this evening. She came out of wherever it is she lives, ran down the side of the ditch, and then popped down in it to hunt for prairie dogs. Their population has really taken off this spring, and I've been seeing a bunch of fox come, and also there were a ton of raptors in the sky the other day. I rented the place in Montana for around 10 years, and it was really wild to see all of the things that would hang around when the gopher population was a little bit higher. Unfortunately, the neighbors do not get as excited about these prairie dogs as I do. I've gotten a few calls already that they are encroaching across the property line.
Hey, get snatched.
Hopefully between the raptors, the fox, and the cats, these prairie dogs will be back in check fairly soon. Prim and her foal are now pretty comfortable being turned out for a few hours in the morning.
Oh, Ziggo.
I think Nigel knows that this foal does not belong to him, but Ziggy still isn't convinced.
It's alright, Primmy.
Prim was pretty excitable about the other horses meeting her baby the last couple of days, but now she is much more relaxed. This little jumping bean still rips around from time to time, but now he's doing a lot more exploring. These panels are relatively safe for a foal, but it's a good thing that he's not really testing the boundaries at all. With young foals like this little guy, it can be tricky determining if they should get more or less turnout time. Many foals do need to be restricted in their movement if they have certain angular limb deformities. I'm pretty excited that even though this guy was pretzeled up a little bit in the womb, his legs are straight as arrows. There are tons of things that can be wrong with foals' legs when they come out. They have so many tiny little bones in their knees and hocks that just one out of whack can create big problems. Right now, this guy does look like his tendons are a little bit contracted, but I think it's just because he is growing so fast. With the amount of turnout time he's getting, they should resolve as he grows. A lot of times, depending on the problem, these tiny guys require splints or special shoes. For a foal that comes out without all of its bones fully developed, running around too much can cause a ton of harm. While it's really nice to see a new baby galloping through an open field with its mother, a lot of times it is not in their best interest. I'm also still a little bit worried about Prim, so I don't want her running around if it can be helped at all. She's trotted around a tiny little bit in this miniature turnout pen, but for the most part she's just moseying around eating the grass and nibbling on her hay. The pen is plenty big enough for the foal to run around and stretch. Hopefully, as time goes on, he'll be able to spend more and more time out here. It was pretty interesting today. He caught a few glimpses of Nigel. I don't know that he noticed him before, but he really didn't think too much of him. Nigel was getting very excited about this horse when he was born, but thankfully he has quieted down quite a bit. For the last couple of days, I've been trying really hard to think of the perfect name for this guy, but I just haven't come up with the right one yet. I feel every day he still changes a little bit, and maybe his true personality has not come through yet. Foals tend to be pretty rambunctious, but this guy is a little spitfire for sure. The last couple of days of turnout, he spent whipping around at breakneck speeds, and today he is a bit more reserved. He stops every couple laps to take a look at Nigel. He has also been preoccupied with getting extra nourishment from Prim. There isn't too much grass out here, but he is trying his hardest, even without any teeth, to get a few bites. Right now, he needs to consume about 4 gallons or 15 liters of milk every single day. It's pretty cute to see him nibbling on the grass, but he needs to continue to intake enough milk to sustain his growing body. It'll take this little guy 4 to 6 months to develop the right hindgut bacteria to ferment forage properly. There is a little bit of a Goldilocks situation when dealing with growing foals. You definitely want them to be growing at a pretty good pace, but too much nutrition too fast can also lead to some developmental problems. Prim has been getting supplemental vitamin E and flaxseed oil for her milk production for the last couple of months. As long as she continues to eat the amount she needs, she should be able to provide for this foal. If for some reason he becomes uninterested in nursing, I can always creep feed him a more concentrated product. But I would prefer him to get most of his nutrition from his mother. Most breeders will wean their foals from 4 to 6 months of age. I would really prefer the mayors self-wean them kind of naturally. This guy will start getting too rambunctious.
Getting tired?
And Prim will naturally want to have less and less to do with him.
Good boy.
I'd really like to set it up to where this guy moves on to his own little herd and Prim goes back in with the girls.
Oh, better keep them legs away.
Before I decided to bring Sparkler home, I had planned on getting another pregnant mare to foal out and be friends with this foal and Prim. I was really worried for a while that Sparkler was also in foal, but I did get her blood work back and she is not going to be having any babies this year. It would have been nice to have Sparkler and a little baby for this guy to be friends with, but she is far too young.
How's your little belly button?
And after how traumatizing Prim's birth was, I really don't want to go through that again. I purchased Scarlet from a sale when she was only a few months old, and I have no doubt in my mind that I'll be able to find a similar friend for this little dude if that's what I choose to do. I could also find a pregnant broodmare, but I think that'll be too much.
See, your little nubs.
There's too many variables with foaling out a pregnant mare.
A little scratching.
And I would prefer to find a horse that improves this guy's situation instead of making it more difficult. I still think that Ziggy is going to be the perfect buddy for this guy to learn the ropes from. He is already getting pretty mouthy and his teeth should be coming in within the next couple of days. I want him to have some manners when he grows up, so it's very important that he learns it from another horse. He is still far too fragile for me to turn out with the other big horses though.
Watch your noggin.
If I had a bunch of other broodmares with young babies, that would be fine to turn them out together. But Ziggy and Scarlet are pretty high octane horses and this little guy does not need to be racing around with them. Probably in another month or two, I will think harder about getting this guy a little friend. At this point in time, it's just fun watching him discover the world around him. I do sneak in tiny little bits of training when the opportunity presents itself. But for the most part, this guy just gets to do whatever he wants.
You're such a little poop head. There's squirrels. Let me see, you got two? Just one. I want to see him. I want to see him. You're so sassy.
His schedule these days still revolves around getting snacks and naps. Pretty soon here, he's going to be turned out all day long. He has been getting pretty rambunctious and kicky lately, so I like to observe him from the other side of the fence these days. Something that he's not excited about, but he's going to have to learn some manners eventually.
It's not gonna get you what you want, little dude. Come on, run. Scratches. Hey, I have to get you a friend. We got a cat over there.
I've tried to set this little guy up for success with a pretty safe environment. I wanted to put up a baby-specific fence for this guy.
Whoa!
But all of the fencing projects are on hold until the well is finally drilled, which should hopefully be soon.
Oh, little guy. Oh, you're tired already?
All of the horses' permanent dry lots are going to have water and electricity run to them. So before I can plan any of that layout, I do have to know exactly where the well is going to be. I've already changed my plans about half a dozen times, but once the well is drilled, I'll be able to lay some permanent fencing down. When the driller came out earlier, he did pick a spot that we most likely will hit water. That area is really close to some of the current horse pens. Nigel, Sparkler, Scarlet, and Ziggy will all have to move. I've been trying to look a little bit farther into the future and get a few things done that I need to do for the horse pens to be completed, that I can also do without knowing the final spot for the well. Preparing mash meals for these horses several times a day has given me a lot of time to think. The extra labor involved has been really taxing, especially since I'm so tired from watching Prim for so many nights in a row. I only have one big giant bale left, which typically lasts all of the horses only 2 days. I've really been able to stretch it out because of the use of pellets, but I sure would love to get a bunch of hay back in here so I don't have to spend so much time preparing meals. With all of the horses having their second breakfast and these two turned out and really settling down, I decided today that I'll take a trip into town and pick up a few supplies. Hopefully I'll be able to pick up some hay today as well. As I was about to leave, I noticed this little baby was having some trouble getting his poops out. As these foals begin to develop the proper bacteria in their hindgut, they can have some trouble digestively. This guy is quick as a whip and already figured out how to just use the poop pile.
You pooping in the big pile?
Unfortunately, I saw him struggling much more than is normal. I really don't like to go administering enemas willy-nilly, but it does look like this guy is probably going to need a little bit of help. I have a feeling that he's been nibbling on a lot of hard feed and they're probably just getting clogged up in his system. He was squeezing as hard as he could, but he still wasn't making anything happen. After a while, he really wanted me to see that there was nothing coming out of his little booty.
No, sir. And you're going to get an enema.
He got a little enema, and it is a really good thing that he did because he had really hard balls of poop stuck. It looked like he was definitely chewing on straw for a couple days.
Hey. Oh, good thing you got that enema, little bud. Whoa.
After he was all cleaned out, I could tell that he was feeling so much better. I could also tell that Ziggy was pretty worried about him. The new little baby has definitely sparked this old dude back to life. He just celebrated his 22nd birthday and he, I think, is still aging in reverse. With everything on track at home, I can now zip into town. I have a few projects in mind that I need to complete this summer. I need some abrasive rocks for the horses' permanent watering stations. By the time I'm ready to build them, I should have everything planned out.
Smile too, like your mama. You can do it.
Each day, this little dude learns something new. When he was getting ready to be turned out the next day, I discovered he figured out how to smile from Prim.
Such a smart little guy. Little nose. Ooh, that's nasty. This is a really nasty boy. Whoa! Ouch! You are a spicy burrito.
This will be the second day he's spending all day outside. As long as he doesn't race around the entire day, this should be the perfect amount of turnout for him.
Ooh, you little turd. You're crazy.
It's becoming more and more obvious that this little guy is going to keep me pretty busy over the next couple of years.
You're getting a thick booty. Ah!
I still don't think I've landed on the perfect name for this little dude. Even though he is now just about a week old, I still feel like he's changing on the daily.
Go on.
He was fairly reserved the first couple of days, but now he is not afraid of very much. Prim continues to pretty much just ignore him. She's gotten a lot more accepting of him going up to the fence line and checking out both Ziggy and Scarlet. It's really cute to see these two boys getting along so well through the fence.
Hey, little one.
I really don't spend very much time inside his pen when he's turned out because he has been getting very kicky lately. I really don't want to break his feisty spirit, so it's better if he can play unrestricted without me getting in the way. I was thinking about waiting until he was 2 to 3 months old to get him a little buddy because that would be much easier as far as a vaccination schedule is concerned. But if he continues to play this rough, it might be better if I could get one a little bit sooner, since most well-bred horses will not be getting weaned until much later. I am going to be restricted to finding a horse at need in auction, which does present its own set of challenges and might be a little bit too risky to introduce this guy to. I really don't want to expose this little guy to any auction bugs, even though he got some really good colostrum and he should have pretty good immunity from Prim. It's just too risky for me. I would, of course, quarantine any new horse that's coming onto the property. For foals with an unknown vaccination history, you can start at 3 to 4 months of age.
Come here. Come on. Come over here. Good boy. That's a nice boy. No chewing on humans.
Any baby I get to be this guy's friend would also have to be fairly calm.
Nice boy. No teeth.
Most of the horses his age that I find at auction are typically pretty wild. Scarlet took an extremely long time for me to gentle, even though she was so young. After thinking about it for a little longer, it might be the right move to try and find a broodmare that has already foaled with something that is around the same age as this guy. I am, however, still pretty exhausted from staying up for the last week, and the thought of bringing any new horses home right now is something that I just do not have the mental capacity for. I've got a lot of other horses, and there is a possibility that I could just integrate this little baby in with them when he is much bigger. A few of the permanent residents still act like young horses anyway. Pete has seemed particularly interested in this new baby.
Why sniffing? Smells like other cats.
I was able to get 6 bales of last year's hay.
Is it okay?
I'm really thankful I was able to pick this up.
Not any kittens in here, are there?
They are starting to cut new hay for this season, but my horses will enjoy this just as much. And it should take a lot of the extra chores out of the equation for me. After Tiny's approval, I finally was able to unload
that,
it
Tiny?
into the little hay shed.
What are you doing in there? Come on.
I was pretty excited about the hay and got a burst of extra energy. I put it to good use by finally ripping all of the old tires out of the ground. After 100, I stopped counting. Some of these tires have been here for well over 50 years, and I am so excited to finally get them off the property. This was one of those tasks that I really wanted to get done, but the thought of actually doing it was giving me a lot of stress. So it feels good to finally have them on the trailer.
I know, it's a terrible stack job. Come on. Gonna be a bumpy ride. Okay, Back to the barn.
Every day I've been trying to tackle a job like this.
Good morning. Hello.
It is a little bit hard, however, to not get distracted from chores by this dude.
You hungry for breakfast? Oh, you're so cute. All right, everybody wants breakfast. Come on, Tiny.
With the arrival of the new baby, Tiny has decided now she likes the cat house.
Come on, Tiny. I'm coming.
It was a huge relief to be able to start feeding all of the horses regular hay for breakfast. While they were getting adequate nutrition when I was giving them the pellets, it's just so much easier for me to toss hay in the morning.
Ready to go out?
Which opens up a little more extra time for me to snuggle this guy.
Let's go. Come on, little one.
As far as babies go, he is pretty cute and curious.
Boy, got any teeth coming in?
I feel like I am still very much in the getting to know you stage.
All gums still.
I want him to grow up as a normal horse, but I do need to put a little bit of training on him.
You better watch out, buddy.
I've got a few different plans for bigger pastures for these two, all of which require us moving through the property. Typically, you can just lead your broodmare and the baby will follow along the side. I have a feeling this guy might explore too much though.
You better stay away from him, Huckleberry.
Every day he seems to be getting a little bit braver. I often catch him showing off for Ziggy, and Prim has become less interested in keeping him away from the other horses.
Huckleberry, you gotta leave him. Leave him. Come on, out. Come on, go on.
Recently, Huckleberry has been very excited to meet the new baby horse. I've noticed that Ivar is getting a little bit more independent around the ranch. Here lately, he has been catching a lot of prairie dogs and has been gaining a following of little magpies everywhere he goes. The gophers are pretty big and it looks like Ivar can't finish it in one sitting. Besides catching prairie dogs, he doesn't seem to be too interested in most of the normal ranching activities. He spends most of his day lounging on the patio furniture now. It has been really hot here lately, and although I want to monitor Prim's intake of water pretty closely, it's now safe enough for her to get a bigger bucket.
Hello, Primmy.
Unfortunately, I have seen young foals drown in different water tubs over the years. In the first couple of days when they are not very aware of their surrounding, it is probably more common than people realize. At this point, I think this foal is probably recovered from his traumatizing birth. He seems very aware of everything that's going on and is pretty calm and curious.
You're squirming.
Even when he's turned out, he will come over to the fence for me to scratch him.
Definitely got two.
He is pretty particular in the areas that he likes to have extra scratches. If I'm outside, he'll demand scratches in between meals and naps. If I'm grooming Prim, I'll brush him as well, but he doesn't really like it too much. So far, I still haven't put a halter on him at all. I've got a few different options that I am going to try out when the time comes.
He might stomp on you, Huckleberry.
Huckleberry is very smart around the horses, and he was pretty excited to meet this little one.
You liking that baby horse?
Mostly, I know he's just interested in eating his little poops, but he is the perfect dog to remain calm around a new baby. I don't want him to be afraid of dogs unnecessarily, so Huckleberry is the perfect first introduction.
She's gonna like you, buddy. Ooh, Primmy!
Prim, however, was not so sure that she was ready to share her baby with Huckleberry. I think in the future he'll stay a little bit farther outside their pen. I still haven't decided on a name for this little one. I'm sure it'll eventually come to me. But for now, it's just nice to be able to sit and enjoy him romping around.
Hey, you little turd.
It's been really nice to see this little dude grow over the last week. Each day there is a new milestone, even if it is a little bit unpleasant sometimes. I'm continuing to chip away at all of the chores there are to do around the ranch. One by one, I'm slowly checking them off of my list. After hustling pretty hard for the last couple of months, it's nice to see everything finally starting to come together.
Come on, Huckleberry.
There are a lot of really fun things on the horizon, and I hope you guys will join me for those. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.